Hello, hello. This is once again John Miller, founding attorney at Rock Solid Law and Title. I am coming to you from beautiful Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. Spectacular end of spring. So it's summer starting later this week. Gorgeous but hot weather. Maybe a little more rain would be helpful for our flowers in the yard. I started this law firm 31 years ago, right here in Ponte Vedra. I've moved just up the beach a bit and now back to where we started. The firm is established to do three things. And today we're primarily going to talk about the estate planning area of practice. We will do a probate. We prefer not to do probate, but we will help a family through it if we didn't get to plan them away from it. Probate is expensive, time consuming, and public. And it's, in my opinion, where families go to fight and fall apart. And my firm is not about fighting. My firm is about holding families together. And because I believe the family is the center of our American culture. And I will do everything I can to serve families and make them strong and keep from giving them a platform on which someone may cause a fuss with other family members. In addition to estate planning, for the entire life of the firm, we have been closing real estate, closing title and escrow professionally and on time. I believe that home ownership is the building block of the American dream, and that real estate in Florida can be used to build wealth, which obviously relates to the estate planning and asset protection side of the practice. So we like to help advise our clients to build wealth and then protect it and pass it on to the future. The third leg of our practice is representing entrepreneurial small business owners. Actually, by representing the small business owner, sometime many years ago, the 90s, I realized that I needed to have the estate planning piece because we couldn't plan for the future of those business owners without planning for the future of their families. So that's how it all dovetails together. I believe that small business is the heartbeat of American economy, and small business is important for all of us. And it is just my honor to serve small businessmen. I met with a new one yesterday, and just so great to get to work with people who are going to create jobs and keep our economy strong. Yeah, it's tough times. I mean, we have inflation, we've got interest rates going up. It's always tough times. We just came through a pandemic, but we're Americans. My family's been here since before the Revolutionary War. I have a Revolutionary War general in my family tree, and I believe in America, and I believe in the American dream, and I believe in doing our little part to make our beaches community, overall Jacksonville, Northeast Florida, all of Florida. We do have the privilege of representing people throughout the state, and indeed the country, stronger through the efforts of our firm. So in that regard, today, obviously, I'm here to talk with you a little bit about taking care of yourself so that you can take care of your family. That comes into play on our estate planning side. Now, with a specific Ponte Vedra reference, I like to say I can represent Dolphin Cove as well as the Boulevard. So we provide services to all people. Only the very, very lowest socioeconomic 5% do not need to have a simple will. And some people need multiple trusts with asset protection built in and planning for the future generations of their family. So we do all the way up to dynastic trusts and all sorts of things. Doesn't matter to me what you need. It doesn't matter to me what you want. What I care about is educating you so that you can make enlightened choices on what's available to you. And then you tell us how far you want to go toward the plan that we can build for you. And we will create a rock solid estate plan with you. You know, the school shootings have been one of the toughest things, I believe, that our country has dealt with during my lifetime, which stretches back to the beginning of the 60s. You know, we came through Vietnam, we've come through other difficulties. We have culture issues. But the fact that parents are dropping their children off at school and never seeing them alive again, I think is one of the saddest developments in our country, and we've got to figure it out. I have two young children, a teenage daughter. Thank you for your condolences. She's a sweet girl almost all the time, and we love her dearly. She's a great student and a good kid, but it certainly is an honor to help teach her life's lessons. And then we have a little guy. I've got a guy that just finished second grade, and he's now 8. He'll be going to third grade, Jackson Beach Elementary next year. Right after the Texas murders of those school children, it was the last week of school. And I dropped him off this last year. The way our schedule worked, I would drop him off on my way to work. It's really cool to have a few minutes with your little grommet, and which if you're not a surfer, that's a small surfer. But I remember the day after those shootings. You park, you can drop your kid off from the car, but I like to park at the edge of the schoolyard, and we'd walk up. And some days I'd even get to hold his hand. Right? He's getting big. He's boys get away from holding their hands, and he's pretty shy about giving dad a hug and a kiss before school. But that day, I was thinking about those parents who dropped their kid off at school the day before, and then received the news that their children had been gunned down at school. When I was a kid, school was a safe place. As a parent, I think my instinct is I want to protect my children, and of course, grow them up. And I believe they're the future. They're the future of our country, and that we have to educate them well so that they can be leaders. And to have that passion and concern for that child in that moment was almost overwhelming. In fact, I was strong all the way there, but I will admit to having shed a tear walking back to the car. And unfortunately for me, he came home that night. He came home every night from school. Now we're on summer break, and he's going to Mosh Camp at the Science and History Museum and learn about dinosaurs and fossils this week. So that passion, that concern, that belief in our ability to shape the future through our children, and our ability to shape the world through how we shape our children, is amazing. And I think the hardest part about dropping young Ian off that day at school is my helplessness, because when he's away from me, I had really no ability to do anything to help him but trust in the school system to protect him. On the other side, my mom's now well into her 80s, and we lost dad about half dozen years ago, and he got sick another 5 years before that, and I started calling him every day. Once he passed, every day on the way to work, I call my mom, and it's very meaningful to both of us. And yeah, I'm a mama's boy. My siblings love her just as much as I do, but there's a special bond with the parent, and I believe that a parent's love never dies, and that we as parents and we as children feel probably the strongest love that we know how to feel, and that the love that we feel as parents can take different forms throughout our lives. And that's what I want to talk to you about a little bit over the next 15, 20 minutes. I was fortunate to find the right woman in my life. It was not my first effort, but I did 20 some years ago find the right person. And as I began to enjoy the loving marital relationship, I thought, wow, well, I love my parents and love my sisters and my brother. This is great. Wow, what a fantastic bond and relationship and love. And didn't really believe there could be anything greater than that. Till we had our daughter. She came before our son, of course. And I remember holding that little baby and having the following thought, which I hope you will not hold against me. But my thought was this: I love my wife. And if a train were coming and she were on the tracks, I would do everything I could to get her off the tracks. But once I experienced the love of that child, I realized that if my child were on the tracks, I would take on the train, right? And that was just my mental metaphor for how much stronger the love for my child is. So I began to wonder why sometimes during our lives do we take actions that doesn't show that level of love that we have for those we love, be it parents, be it spouses, be it children, be it grandchildren, maybe siblings, nieces and nephews, uncles and aunts, maybe complete strangers that have been the best friends in our lives. Why don't our actions reflect our level of commitment to those people? So this is Men's Health Month, right, June? And it's funny because while I'm always committed to making Rock Solid Law and Title a better and stronger company and firm so it can serve more people, that's my whole motivation. Because the better I am, the better my firm is, the better business manager I am, the more people out there in the world I help. But my other commitment, my main commitment this year was to health. I'm over 60 now. And, to get my physical, it's pretty easy to put things off during the pandemic, to get my dental work done. I still got the dermatologist to tick off. And I was overdue because I'd been told to go do a colonoscopy. And then somebody said to me, estate planning is the colonoscopy of the law. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, look, everybody procrastinates when they're told to make an appointment for a colonoscopy. In fact, I had to see a urologist last year and he told me he was overdue for his. And everybody procrastinates when it's time to do their will and trust and to take care of their family. And I went, wow, I practice the colonoscopy of the law. So I had to take a few minutes to think about that. And I thought, you know what? That person's right. My biggest challenge is to help people help themselves and show their love to their family. So I have now made my appointment and had mine done. So, and fortunately, I'm in good health. I got a really good report. And hey, how great do I feel having gotten the good report? Guess what? That's exactly how people feel when they finish up at our table, signing all their estate planning documents. Wow, I put that off for 20 years, people will say. I'm so glad I did it. Thank you. You made the process easy. I just had somebody yesterday go, I was dreading talking to an attorney. We're not that attorney, okay? If you want somebody dour and it's all death and dismemberment, disease, go find somebody else. We're going to help you through the process, give you the very best services, and make it as fun as possible. I actually had the great pleasure of being on the line with a recent widow. It's been 6 months, and she's still grieving, man. She loved her husband yesterday, and we ended up laughing. And I think the greatest gift I gave yesterday was the laughter that she and I had together, because she doesn't have a lot of that in her life right now. Anyway, back to your point, John. We procrastinate too much. If we care so much about our children when they're little, and those we love even who are not our children, that we would take on a train for them, why don't we show them? Why do we show them? Why are actions that we care so little about them later on? And we do. I see it all the time. I have a long list of people who have come to see me, paid to see me, and still don't go forward. They take the first step and then they don't take the second one. Oh, I got to think about it. I don't know who I want to be my personal representative, trustee, attorney, in fact. Yeah, you do. Put somebody down. Who do you trust? Move forward. You can change it later. Nothing is inalterable. Once again, 2 days ago, this week, we met with the family, and we thought it was a joyous occasion. She was moving into the house her parents had left her and her sister. But it turned out that the way that the parents had left that house behind had left the opportunity for a huge fight to take place. And the two sisters are never going to talk again. Now, that had to be foreseeable. And there are absolutely ways to plan around it. I know for a fact, because that's what I do for a living. Sisters that after their parents pass will never talk again. That's awful. And it could have been avoided. These are adults. These are not little children, right? So when a parent has failed to take action, when someone has procrastinated and not shown their love to those they treasure, that's my phrase, they really leave behind a ticking time bomb in terms for those very children that they professed to love so much when they took them to elementary school. So in this situation, the sisters are never going to speak again because of the thoughtlessness of the parents. What the parents' failure to plan did was tear apart their family tree. And for me, it's not acceptable. It can be avoided, and it can be avoided in a simple, straightforward, and not unpleasant manner. So what does it mean, take care of yourself? How does that show love to those that you love? Well, if you take the opportunity to do your estate plan, that will include a power of attorney, a healthcare surrogate, a HIPAA release, and a declaration to physician, which in the past was called a living will. We don't, and I think the better practitioners don't call it a living will anymore because it has nothing to do with living. It's how you want to be treated in your final illness, okay? Why is doing those documents taking care of your kids? Because if you pick who your attorney, in fact, is, the person that's going to take care of your business affairs, your banking, your insurance, your mortgage, all those things, then they don't have to fight about who takes care of you. And they certainly don't have to go to court to get a guardian appointed or a conservatorship, which is an awful thing for a family to have to go through where people fight over who's going to be in control, right? So if you pick those to take care of yourself, you're never going through the guardianship, okay? Your family's never going through the guardianship. Somebody can take care of you when you can't, either if it's temporary or permanent. You know, medical science has developed so much that our bodies are outliving our minds in a lot of cases. And we need somebody to step in when our minds aren't able to take care of our business anymore. And that part of the estate planning process is taking care of you during your life without even getting to the point of taking care of those you love that I've been talking about in this webinar. So it really does take care of you, and at the same time takes care of them because it tells them what you want. One of the worst things to have happen is, oh my gosh, mom's got to be hospitalized. Who's in charge? The healthcare surrogate says so. And it's whoever you pick, okay? Now, it does, for a personal representative under a will, it has to be a Florida resident or a relative, right? So there are some restrictions on who it can be, but we can help you with those. Easy choices. Easy choices to make. We put it up on a platter. It's like T-ball. We put it on the tee, you hit it, right? And then you run the bases, and we got the rest of it, okay? So, and then with either the will or the trust, whichever is appropriate for you, and I've done a lot of webinars on here about avoiding probate and why a trust is a good thing for families with some level of assets. Go check those out at Rock Solid Law / seminars or webinars, I think it is. It's on our homepage, rocksolidlaw.com. And then you've laid out the plan for after you're gone. It tells them, if you want to, what arrangements you want, what celebration you want. It tells them who's going to be in charge. It tells them how you decided whatever you didn't use gets distributed, right? All of that's laid out. So there's no guessing, and there's really no room for fighting and arguing. And guess what that allows them to do? Show their love for you, to remember you, to celebrate you, and yeah, to grieve, but to grieve without family conflict, just to grieve the loss of you in their everyday lives, and have the opportunity to celebrate you without all that noise in the background. I wish I didn't have 1,000 stories of somebody coming up at the funeral and saying, yeah, well, he always wanted me to have his fill in the blank. And this always happening. Either yeah, he did or no, he didn't, if you left instructions behind in writing. And that's what we help you with. You take care of yourself during your life. You can also take care of your minor children, should you have them, by appointing who would take care of them if you're unable to do so. And we can also take care of your young adult kids because nobody thinks about it. But that day they turn 18, we don't have control over them anymore unless they execute a healthcare surrogate and perhaps a power of attorney in our favor as well. So take care of your kids, whether they're minors, young adults, or after you're gone. Take care of yourself during the rest of your life. And take care of your family to keep it strong. The main part for me, and this is part of my quest, is to take care of the future of your family after you're gone so that fights are avoided. Rather than leaving a platform behind that actually encourages them to fight. So I feel strongly about this mission of my firm that to thank you for joining us this morning. We are offering a $500 discount on a trust-based package that comes to approximately 10%. If you want to take advantage of that, please just write us at questions, that's plural, QUSTIONS, at Rock Solid Law, ROCKSOLIDLAW. That is pretty much the lesson that I wanted to teach this morning. Obviously, when we consult together, we can talk about your particular family situation and maybe make some recommendations on what's best. There are both a chat bar and a question bar at the bottom. If somebody does have a general question about what we're talking about this morning, please type it in now. If you have a question you don't want to share in the group or one that is really more fact specific to you and your family, send it to that questions at Rock Solid Law so that we keep that privileged and we keep that our secret between us. I hope that this is illuminating. People really do procrastinate. People really do procrastinate in this procedure, just like they do medical procedures, even though we know it's good for us. And yes, we want to move ahead. We do have a question. I'm going to address that. I'm glad to. The Ladybird deed is a phenomenal opportunity in estate planning and real estate. And as I mentioned, Rock Solid Law and Title, we practice in both of those areas. So the Ladybird deed is not available in all states, and I believe it's only 10 or 12 where it exists. We're so lucky to have it here in Florida. Ladybird deed is best used with a will-based plan for somebody that doesn't otherwise need a trust. A Ladybird deed's technical title is an enhanced life estate deed. And the enhanced life estate deed solves the problem of King Lear, who gave his entire kingdom to his daughters and then got thrown out. Parents were quitclaiming their property to themselves and their kids. But that means that the parent loses control of the property during their life unless the adult children cooperate, and there can often be different goals. Maybe the parent needs to sell the property for money to move to the retirement home, where the interest of the child is really to inherit the property. With an enhanced life estate deed, which of course we can create for you, you maintain complete control during your lifetime, meaning that you can mortgage, home equity line of credit, or even sell the property without the cooperation or permission of your heirs, children, whoever it is you put on the deed. The technical name for the people who would own the property after your life are remainder men, and that is often the adult children. And you can indicate there how they would hold title together. What happens with the ladybird deed, you maintain complete control during your lifetime. And then after your death, it immediately becomes owned by the remainder men or man, as the case may be. I'm sorry that there's not a term remainder women. That's just the way the ancient practice of real property law occurred. So we would be delighted to assist with the ladybird deed. There is special language that needs to go in them. I discourage people from attempting to do them themselves because, well, candidly, if you blow it, it won't be effective and you're leaving an even bigger problem to the kids you were trying to help or to the people you're trying to help. So thanks. Great question. Love to discuss that with you if you wish to make an appointment. Again, we're offering a $500 discount from a trust-based package. Come talk to us. Have an absolutely wonderful end of your springtime, beginning of your summer. And I'm going to leave you once again with Lionel Richie and the Commodores. It's been a pleasure Zooming with you. I'm John Miller, Rock Solid Law and Title.